Now a special mention, Mani Sri Sushil Kumar Modi.
Upasthi Mahoday, India is extremely reliant on newsprint imports and is the largest importer of newsprint globally, importing 45% from Russia alone. The Russia-Ukraine crisis and associated sanctions have stuck shipping containers of newsprint, leading to supply shortages. Such disruptions have been occurring frequently. Workers strike in factories in Finland, Canadian truckers strike in Canada, both significant import sources for India. Moreover, freight costs of ocean transportation have risen by 400% in the last 2 years, also resulting in newsprint supply chain disruptions. The increased cost is translated into higher import costs for domestic newspaper firms, as newsprint alone contributes 40 to 50% of newspaper cost. The prices faced by newspaper firms have risen from $450 per ton in 2019 to $950 ton now. As a consequence, business has become increasingly uneconomical. Even loss-mounting domestic newsprint manufacturers are converting their mills to producing packaging material for robust demand in e-commerce sector. Currently, a tiny fraction of the mills produce newsprint in India. Emerging from the COVID crisis, in which many had stopped taking newspapers and advertisements revenue had dried up, the industry has been suffering since long and needs urgent revival. Most newspapers have stopped sending their edition to rural areas where the demand is low, as distribution costs are not being met by revenues there. Newspapers empower the citizen with information and is essential in a democracy. I therefore urge Government of India to intervene by securing supply of newsprint, provide relief by scrapping the 5% import duty on newsprint, and to introduce a scheme to incentivize domestic newsprint production.
Thank you. Dr. M. Thambidurai.
Deputy Chairman, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir, I would like to bring to the notice of this August House and Honorable Minister of Railways the following matter, urgent public importance, and also my request to the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Railways. Sir, as you know, Bharat Ratna Purachitalu MGR was Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu for 3 consecutive terms, and is a respected leader not only in Tamil Nadu and India, but also the entire world even today. To pay respects to him and also to respect the sentiments of the Tamilians living all over the world, a request was made by all party leaders, EPS and OPS, through then Tamil Nadu government, to the Honorable Prime Minister and to the Railway Minister, to rename the Chennai Central Railway Station as Chennai Purachittalavar M.G. Ramachandran Railway Station. The request was acceded by Honorable Prime Minister Sri Modi ji, and subsequently the Railway Minister effected the change the name of the railway station. Even now, sir, Dr. MGR is living the hearts of millions of Tamilians all over the world. Hence, it is only fit and proper if the statue of Dr. MGR adorns the Chennai MGR Purachittalavar MGR Railway Station. In this regard, I request Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Railway Minister that necessary permission may be kindly granted for the installation of the statue of Dr. Purachittalavar MGR at the entrance of the Chennai Railway MGR Railway Station at the earliest. Thank you, Mr. for giving the opportunity.
Thank you. Sri Maharaja Sanjabo Lesichma.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir, for giving me this opportunity. My special mention is demand for inclusion of ethnic indigenous communities, Meitei or Meitei, in the scheduled tribe list under Article 342, Clause 1 of Indian Constitution. Since 2013, the Meitei have made many representations to Honorable Prime Minister, Home Minister, Minister of Tribal Affairs and other union leaders for consideration of including Meitei in the ST list under Article 342, Clause 1, but till today, any positive or concrete action has not been come out from the union and the state government so far, unless they are provided with constitutional safeguard, that is, the ST status. Without further delay, they shall be reduced to minority, being vulnerable to become refugees in their own ancestral land, once a proud nation state for more than 5,000 years. So, I request the Government of India through this House to kindly take up necessary action and instruct the state government to do the needful as early as possible. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sri GVL Narsingh Rao, please.
Sir, thank you, sir, for the opportunity. So my special mention is about early sanction for construction of. Sir, the mic is not okay. So my special mention is about early sanction for construction of a short railway link line between Narsaraopet and Nakirikallu in Andhra Pradesh for connectivity to Hyderabad. So Narsaraopet is a prominent trading town and district headquarters of New Palnadu district of Andhra Pradesh. Narsaraopet is connected by rail to Bangalore and Kolkata, but not to Hyderabad, the biggest city in the region, with which it has strong trade and commerce links. So Narsaraopet region is a prominent agricultural zone with a large number of food processing industries in its close proximity. Narsaraopet is also a major trading center witnessing huge cargo movement from and to Hyderabad. Large-scale movement of edible oils, pulses, flours, etc. from Narsaraopet to Hyderabad, and textiles, fertilizers, pharmaceuticals and foodstuffs to Hyderabad offer a sizable cargo opportunity for railways. So Narsaraopet can be connected to Hyderabad by laying a short railway link line to Nakirikallu, which is just 18 kilometers away on New Piduguralla Savalyapuram section of Guntur Railway Division, which is part of the new Nadikudi Srikalahasti railway line being constructed. Survey report by Railway Board for constructing a new railway link line between New Piduguralla to Narsaraopet via Sitarampuram, Nakirikallu and Rupanagunta stations has been estimated to cost only rupees 237 crores with a rate of return ROR of minus 0.44%, sir. This has been submitted to the Railway Board, which has kept the project pending. Andhra Pradesh government representatives have assured the Honorable Railway Minister, Shri Ashwini Vaishnavji, in my presence, that the state government will provide or acquire land required for the project or may share cost of the project. In view of this, I request the Railway Board to undertake this project expeditiously. Thank you, sir.
Manya V. Vijay Sai Reddy, not present. Manya Sri Derek O'Brien, not present. Dr. Santanu Sen ji, Srimati Mausam Noor or Dr. Kirodi Lal Meena will associate with Dr. Santanu Sen, please.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. My special mention is of immense importance of urgent need of bringing Central Act to protect the doctors and healthcare workers. Sir, despite rendering their best possible services, even at the cost of their lives, doctors often get assaulted, though their untiring efforts have been noticed even during this COVID pandemic. Recently, in Viratnagar of Rajasthan, on 28th of March, a 22 years pregnant woman was brought to Anand Hospital and admitted under Dr. Archana Sharma. As there was a sudden and profuse bleeding, in spite of taking her to the labor room and taking all possible measures, the patient could not be saved. This profuse bleeding, that is PPH, postpartum hemorrhage, is one of the most common complications of pregnancy, sir. The patient party was initially convinced and they took the body home. But thereafter, some political persons and one journalist, they instigated and they to bring the body back to the hospital to demand money and to lodge FIR under IPC 302. On 29th of March, that lady doctor, Dr. Archana Sharma, unfortunately committed suicide, writing a suicidal note in which she has categorically mentioned she did not kill anyone and she did not do any mistake. She has urged to stop harassing doctors and not to harass her family. She has also written that her death might prove her innocence. I would therefore sincerely request our government to bring a central act to protect the doctors and healthcare workers, as no one can work in such fearful atmosphere, sir.
थैंक यू मौसम नूर जी, आप टाइटल पढ़कर ले करें क्योंकि सेम
Sir,
सब्जेक्ट है,
just
सेम
1 minute, it will take just 1 minute.
2 मिनट नहीं, पूरा पढ़ने की फिर जरूरत नहीं है, चेयरमैन साहब ने एसोसिएट किया है,
Sir,
सेम
just 1
सब्जेक्ट,
minute.
प्लीज.
Sir, on 29th March, the country was left in shock by the news of female obstetrician committing suicide after an FIR for murder was filed against her following a death of a patient in her care. She pleaded in her suicide note, "Do not harass innocent doctors." The entire medical fraternity echoed the sentiment in pain and anger. The newspaper bears witness to the increasing violence against doctors across the country. However, it is shocking to note the lack of data on this issue. The only data available is sparse and anecdotal in nature. Whatever little is known might as well be the tip of the iceberg. A 2017 survey by Indian Medical Association reported that over 46% of doctors in India fear violence. Following the pandemic, the repeated instances of violences have multiplied. Unfortunately, no initiative has been taken by the government to collect data on the issue yet, as per an answer laid in the Rajya Sabha. In 2019, Ministry of Health framed a draft central legislation to address the issue of violence against the healthcare service professionals and damage to property of clinical establishments. However, the Ministry of Home Affairs did not favor the need for a separate law to check violence against the fraternity. The need for a comprehensive law on the issue has surfaced again. I urge the ministry to take a note to collect data on violence against doctors and to introduce a separate legislation in this regard. Thank you, sir.
डॉक्टर किरोड़ी लाल मीना जी, सेम सब्जेक्ट है, आप एसोसिएट.
ना थोड़ा मेरा कंटेंट्स अलग है
जी.
हर मरीज की मौत को डॉक्टर नर्सिंग स्टाफ की लापरवाही से जोड़ देने के कारण देश के विभिन्न हिस्सों में मरीज के परिजनों द्वारा डॉक्टरों पर हमले करने का ग्राफ तेजी से बढ़ता जा रहा है. हाल ही में राजस्थान में एक महिला डॉक्टर ने दबाव के कारण खुदकुशी कर ली. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नवंबर 2021 के अपने फैसले में कहा था कि डॉक्टर सर्वोच्च क्षमता के साथ मरीज का इलाज करता है. किसी कारण से मरीज की मौत होती है तो उसके कारण डॉक्टर लापरवाही का दोषी नहीं माना जा सकता. सुप्रीम कोर्ट के 2021 के फैसले के अनुसार सर्जरी के दौरान मरीज की मृत्यु हो जाती है तो स्वाभाविक रूप से डॉक्टर की लापरवाही नहीं माना जा सकता. इसके लिए चिकित्सा साक्ष्य जरूरी है. सुप्रीम कोर्ट के 2022 के एक फैसले के अनुसार अदालतें फैसला देने से पूर्व डॉक्टर को अपना पक्ष सुनने का मौका दें. सुप्रीम कोर्ट द्वारा वर्ष 2021 में बॉम्बे अस्पताल के केस में कहा था कि मरीज की मौत के हर मामले को चिकित्सीय लापरवाही से नहीं जोड़ना चाहिए. डॉक्टर, नर्स, मेडिकल स्टाफ की सुरक्षा के लिए केंद्र सरकार ने वर्ष 2019 में एक बिल का मसौदा तैयार किया था, लेकिन इसे मंजूर नहीं किया गया. सरकारी एवं निजी अस्पतालों में तोड़फोड़, हिंसा या कार्य में बाधा डालने पर परिजनों के खिलाफ कड़ी धाराओं में केस दर्ज किया जाना नितांत आवश्यक है. अतः केंद्र सरकार से मांग है कि डॉक्टरों की सुरक्षा करने की दृष्टि से सख्त कानून संसद से पास किया जाए.
डॉक्टर फौजिया खान जी, नॉट प्रेजेंट. माननीय श्री जयराम रमेश जी.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Sir, before I start, I just want to mention that parliamentary convention and tradition is that a cabinet minister is present when the house is in session. I have to point out that there is no cabinet minister present. Sir, my special mention is on protection of monuments. There have been some news reports recently that the Union government is planning to bring amendments to the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 2010. I rise to express my concern at this move. The Act was unanimously passed by all parties in Parliament. It brought within its ambit of central legislation a prohibited zone of within 100 meters around protected monuments where no new construction is allowed. Alongside, there is a regulated zone of a minimum of 200 meters beyond the prohibited zone, where any proposed changes to be made would require clearance from a public authority. The purpose of this was to protect precious sites that reflect the wonderful cultural diversity that has defined and enriched India for centuries. There are some 3,700 odd monuments today which are protected by the Archaeological Survey of India as monuments of national importance, along with more than double that number in states and union territories also protected in this way. The number of protected monuments in India must increase significantly. Laws passed by Parliament must be implemented in letter and spirit. The statutory National Monuments Authority, created in 2010, must remain a professional body. Its present chairperson does not meet the qualifications prescribed by Parliament. It must be fully empowered to accelerate the preparation of bylaws. Sadly, so far, such heritage bylaws for only 5 monuments have been placed before Parliament as required by the 2010 law. These bylaws are vital for reconciling developmental imperatives with conservation needs. I seek the urgent attention of the government on this issue. Thank you, sir.
माननीय वी रंजन विश्वास जी.
So my special mention is on disbursal of loans without customer consent using identity theft. Sir, an extensive consent scam involving 84,000 loans at the Bharat Financial Inclusion Limited, that is BFIL, reportedly due to a technical glitch, has brought to light the lack of regulatory oversight and proper consent collection system at financial institutions. The absence of a robust regulatory and consent collection system has been an enabling factor in these fraudulent transactions. Thousands of loans have been availed from the bank by fraudsters using other people's names and PAN details without their knowledge or consent. The issue has been reported by several affected people, including BFIL employees, to the RBI and the board of the IndusInd Bank. The Economic Times, a business daily, had published whistleblowing reports exposing lapses in governance and accounting norms that had led to the evergreening of loans. Despite this, no concrete action has been taken, nor has there been an acknowledgement of the severity of these issues. This is not an isolated event. In February, a similar incident was reported from Dhani Loans and Services Limited, a private company, where several loans were disbursed without consent of the person under whose name the loans had been availed. The ever-increasing reliance on digital banking and transactions have heightened the need for a more robust regulatory system and grievance redressal mechanism. OTP frauds need to be studied and the digital rights of consumers should be strengthened. Hence, I urge the Finance Minister to take cognizance of the severity and urgency of the issue and undertake appropriate action. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. माननीय श्री मोहम्मद नदीमुल हक to associate, not present. The House stands adjourned to meet at 11 hours on Wednesday, the 6th April 2022.
Thank you, sir.